March 31st, 2017. This is Atlanta United FC Weekly. Week 4, or is it week 5, Dan? I don't know. The way MLS works, we were talking about that, right?
Say it's week 4, and then a national break means you stop playing.
Yeah, why have 3 games? It makes no sense.
That's right. I mean, Minnesota was one of those teams. Who cares about that?
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, especially at this point. They've proven the point that I've made week in and week out that they are just a shit team.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. So anyway, I am Tim Herb. I'm joined as always by my lovely co-host, Mr. Kevin Bradley. And then we also have our good buddy that you guys might have heard. If you haven't, go back and check episode 100 of Home Before Dark if you're listening on the main feed or the solo show, or not the main show feed, whatever. Dan James, thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming over, man.
Thanks for having me, Tim.
Bringing in the studio.
Beautiful place and a very intimidating studio setup you got here.
Well, this will get your feet wet, and then you'll come back for a follow-up show after tonight's game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Just top notch.
I'll be over here all the time.
Yeah.
You'll be like, God, he's here again.
And then you'll come to our new studio soon.
That's right.
Great.
Yeah. It's going to be pretty fantastic, I think. I mean, it's
fingers crossed.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. In a couple weeks, right?
Yep.
That's where we're looking.
That's it.
And I think we're going to be having a couple more guests on from other shows. Make sure you guys, we're not in competition with anybody. We want you guys to support your local podcast. We're not going to be able to bring you as much content as a lot of people are, and there's a lot of good stuff out there.
And frankly, I'm just not that dedicated. I am not going to do the amount of research that those guys do. And
well, that's the thing, right? We're not necessarily the expert podcast.
No, we are the everyman show.
Not just the everyman show. I think, in Dan, in my case, I think we're the show for also the EPL transplants that really they wanted a reason to get along and really get attached to MLS.
I tried playing fantasy MLS, and
I can't play fantasy.
It's
EPL.
just a shit show.
Yeah. I don't understand scoring to begin with. So, anyway, big news since last time we recorded. We recorded about 10 days.
Yeah, I forgot. We did.
I think it was about 9 or 10 days ago.
Wow.
Yeah. Just some stuff going on, but I mean, it's still a weekly show.
Yeah, you kind of jinxed it. I mean, you didn't really jinx it. Everybody was thinking it of international break.
Right. So Dan, what's the thing? So I told Kevin last week, I said, Kevin, you get to enjoy what other, European soccer fans get to enjoy during an international break. You get to hold your breath while you watch your players go up. It's awesome to see them go and play for their country. But when they're playing for a club or a country like Venezuela, who's at the bottom of the basement in CONMEBOL, and they have really nothing to play for, and the guy just jackknifes. It was very unfortunate because it was not it wasn't coerced by anything. It really was just him with an open chance on goal and just jackknifed it. And we've all done that, right? You hit the ground whenever you go to chip or something like that, and just a what do you call that? Kind of just like a ripple effect injury, right? It took his quad. Yeah. It took his left quad whenever he went to go chip the keeper.
It was actually Dan that notified me of the injury the following morning, and then some stomach dropped, looked it up. I was like, oh, it's not that serious. And then lo and behold, it got more serious.
Well done, Kevin. But it went from 10 days to 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
so for those who don't know at this point, obviously, Josef Martinez entered international play. Hamstring injury, out 4 to 6 weeks. So that's what we're here to talk about tonight, playing Seattle Sounders. What do we do?
It's going to be interesting to test the depth of our squad. So I've heard Almiron probably won't play.
Wait, what? He's not going to play either?
Well, they just
announced the lineup, guys. Would you guys like to hear it?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I would.
Yeah.
Okay, so I actually want to hear predictions. So in keeper, obviously it's Alec Cant, right?
That's right.
Defense,
Parkhurst.
Yeah, Gonzalez Perez. Their partnership again. Mears on the right, returning to Seattle, which we'll talk about in a minute. Greg Garza is playing on the left. Those two have been playing outstanding together. So we have, and I think I predicted this correctly in the last show in terms of what they were going to do to fill that striker or the.
Well, let's go through the midfield before we get to striker.
Okay, so defensive mid.
Is Carmona playing? I guess we've got.
Yeah, that's why I've got this roster right here. You said Carmona's not playing?
Well, he was on international
No. Carmona's not playing. They're giving those guys a break, right?
So, all of them, even Kinwin and everybody that was
I think Kenwin Jones is
too?
probably on the bench. They both are probably on the bench. I'm just looking at the starting 11 right now. So
Almiron's out.
Yep.
Carmona's out.
Yep.
Kenwin's on bench, which he wasn't going to start more than likely anyway. Obviously, Martinez is out.
Yep.
So midfield, do we have Gressel?
Yep. Julian Gressel, who's been playing outstanding.
Fantastic.
I think we got a freaking steal of a 23-year-old, a 24-year-old German. They moved him up, though.
Is Andrew Carlton on the bench?
Let's see.
I'm assuming
no. So here's maybe
assuming Assad's in midfield.
Yes. So this will probably help you guys. Here's the bench: Rainish, Robinson, Bloom, Kenwin Jones, Carlos Carmona, Miguel Almiron, and Kratz. So no Andrew Carlton still. So Atlanta can still like hold its collective breath until they see him show up. But
okay. All right, I've taken enough.
Okay. Anyway, so we have Steve Lorenowicz.
Yeah.
Who's going to be taking the holding midfield role. You got Julian Gressel, Chris McCann, who was
Jeff Lorenowicz.
Or Jeff, sorry. And then we're going to see Chris McCann come in, one of the marquee signings that came over in the summer. And people were talking about him not being a Tata guy. And he's going to be playing alongside Julian Gressel. You got Assad on his normal left side. You have Peterson on the right side.
Oh,
little miniature Andy Carroll.
Interesting.
And then, like I was hoping they push Tito Villalba up to the
that makes sense
to the striker role.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which will be good. He's got the same pace that Josef Martinez does. He's built very similarly.
It's going to be a really interesting game, though.
He doesn't necessarily have the composure that he does.
So that said, Seattle announced their lineup too. I'm assuming that Dempsey's going to be benched if they're going to follow suit with all their international players being out, which I'm more than excited to hear, considering the week that he had an international play.
You have Fry. Excuse me if I don't know a lot of these players. Jones, Marshall, Svensson, Dellum. Yeah, Dempsey's on the bench.
Okay.
You have Torres on the bench, who is playing for Panama against us. So Josh Shipp, is that his name? Nicholas Lodero's up there. So arguably their most important player, to me, is Nicholas Lodero.
Yes.
And he's playing. Jordan Morris is filling in. Not filling in. He typically plays alongside Clint Dempsey, but he's playing the striker role. And then I guess some of their normal players that are in there. But
so what's are they 4-2-3-1?
For us, we are playing a 4-1-2. 4-1-4-1, I guess, is what we're playing. For them, it's going to be a 4-2-3-1.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So you're going to have like three attacking midfielders. So that's good for us. I think this really plays into our hand because we're not going to be playing against a counter-attacking team necessarily.
Well, it should be an interesting matchup nonetheless, having almost a completely new squad from both sides, having major stars out from international play. I mean, like you said, Seattle's main players still in.
I think for us, you're going to get to see Chris McCann try and step up.
Yep.
You're going to see
Assad step up, which was quiet week. I mean, he had a decent week 1, quiet week 2 and 3.
I mean, he'll forever go down as the guy who scored the first goal in Atlanta United history.
Exactly.
Anyway, Tito Villalba hopefully can continue after that confidence boost, breaking the duck against Chicago 2 weeks ago. And then I'm excited to see what Julian Gressel does. It looks like he's moved up a little bit, right? He was playing a little further back, him and Carmona last week, right?
So, and he definitely lends himself to that more aggressive style midfield offensive play. So
this is good because I always think of teams kind of split in half between the defense and the attack. And well, that was lucky.
Yeah.
And I think Gressel can push forward because he could probably play alongside Villalba at points.
Yeah.
To add to that guy to be
Assad
to feed
definitely
him.
can. So
So what I'm hoping to see, I think it is going to be a more fluid game than the Chicago game. I think it's going to be a lot of tit for tat. I don't think we're obviously not going to be able to pass around.
More competitive.
Yeah, that's true. We're not going to be able to pass around them. Obviously, they're not going to be playing with 10 men, at least at the beginning. We'll see. But
it's not going to be in the snow.
That's true. So this is going to be an interesting game because we're going to go
we're hoping to see a game for the first time in 3 weeks where
we're going to go into one of I would say there are maybe 4 of the most hostile stadiums.
Oh, and they'll be out in full force.
And I would say we maybe have the only one of those 4 hostile environments on the East Coast. I may be wrong. I think Columbus has a pretty good following too.
Columbus, Seattle, Portland.
But Vancouver, Portland, and Seattle all have
New York
contingencies. I don't know. Angie, what was the New York crowd like? 24,000. Was it as crazy as the Atlanta crowd? No, she says no. This is coming right from somebody who went to plenty of New York Red Bulls games, actually in New York. Kevin's going up. Go get another beer, I'm guessing, even though he has 2 on his...
That's right. He just can't get enough.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him right now. Oh, he's going to get Dan another beer. He's being very hospitable.
Host.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to be a good host too, but host to the show, not to my guests.
You guys couldn't hold it down between the two of you.
No. So I think Seattle plays some attractive ball for the MLS teams. I think that there are only a few teams that I see. They don't necessarily play like Atlanta United does, but they do play a less boom ball approach, I guess.
Right.
Less hooving it out of the back, as I like to say.
I feel like they're a little more balanced. So they have.
I would agree with that.
They've got depth up and down the field, and they probably don't. They can stretch their team pretty well. I think. I don't think they're just relying on a couple of guys to stand in at the back while everyone goes up top.
Yeah.
But I think they, for what I was reading online, they tend to lean slightly towards the right. Like the right of their team is pretty strong.
That's very true.
I'm not sure how that is affected with other guys being on the bench coming back from the international break.
Right, because Torres plays along the right side, doesn't he?
Right, I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so you'd have, and we were watching them a couple weeks ago. It's against New York Red Bulls. They look very good. They kind of sputtered to start. Let's get this out of the way. I mean, they're the defending champions, right? They're the team to beat right now, and they will be the team to beat for the next few weeks because right now, I mean, you really don't. Power rankings don't mean a whole lot.
No.
Right, it's one of those it's one of those arbitrary things whenever you think about sports. And also, I was thinking about because you always hear this in other sports is like there's strength of schedule. Like you talk about college football, a lot of the way they do the rankings, they're actual rankings that matter, not just armchair quarterbacking, whatever. But I mean, it's starting to think about that. It's like, well, you really don't know with the amount of turnover there is with personnel in any soccer league. In the MLS, it seems to happen a lot too, because I'm starting to having to get used to trades. Like I'm used to trades in American sports, but you watch EPL and it's somebody gets bought. There's maybe like somebody put into the deal one out of like 1,000 times.
So what's the trade window for
that? I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Do they even have a trade window?
I don't know. I can't imagine they do. So it looked like I was seeing
NFL has a window, right?
There's a trade deadline in every major American
sport. Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Surely there's some.
And then there's a second trade deadline when you're allowed to waive your players and then have other people pick them up. But that's just a dump salary. But
gotcha.
You really don't know what any of these teams are made of. Columbus for the past few years has been pretty powerful, right? And they look like they're kind of stuttering to start. And
Toronto just put in Josie.
Yeah. If we look a little distracted at any point, we're watching Atlanta's next.
We're doing a preview show right now, looking at the Toronto and Kansas City game.
Toronto, Sporting Kansas City are playing right now, and one thing is for sure for watching Toronto, and I might jinx it right here, but they are not very good in front of goal.
They really like to pull the shank. They really shank.
Yeah, they're not great at all. But you're right. In talking about Seattle, watching them play, I think that I do remember in that New York Red Bulls games, they really do favor the right side. I think Jordan Morris got a lot of the balls into the box because he's playing more on the right side with Dempsey playing, kind of floating in the middle, playing that, I guess, more of a 9. And then you have Jordan Morris playing that 10 and, I don't know, kind of holding that up a little bit or kind of distributing from up top. But I think it favors us, though, because I think that the team that beats us is the Chicago type of team.
You think just bunkering down and being able to?
I think so, because I don't know that necessarily we press so much. We do pass a whole lot, and that whole Spanish. I mean, everybody keeps calling it South American style soccer. I guess you can call it that, wwhatever you want. That Tiki Taka and Pep Guardiola. I mean, Tata was at Barcelona too. So I mean, it's just, and I expect us fully to see throughout the season us pass ourselves out of games, not necessarily lose the games, but not win games because we pass so much.
Well, one thing that I've been really enjoying us seeing is, although, yes, we do a lot of passing, but we are possession in as soon as it gets flipped over, we're trying in the next second to be at the ball attacking, to try and take the ball away from us, from the opponent. So I'm wondering if we can be successful again doing that, but then of course you're burning a lot of energy.
That's my biggest concern, because it's been 3 weeks now where we haven't had to face that fatigue issue. You know, everybody's tired whenever you're playing in the snow, and whenever you're playing a man up, you have an advantage with passing and stuff like that.
Thank God Greg Garza didn't get called up to the USMNT. I mean, he could be our linchpin.
It's kind of shocking to me that he didn't get called up, right? I mean, Villafana's not necessarily like a stalwart defender. He's okay. Yeah, he's kind of unremarkable in that team. The way that I've seen Greg Garza play, but obviously, like you said, thank God he didn't get called up. But he's been such a workhorse. Between him and Tyrone Mears, you're seeing a difference in 10 years of age, right? And the work rate is the exact same. They're both, I would say Garza's probably got a few, he's got some horsepower on him, I guess. I mean, Tyrone Mears is a little older, but at the same time, how long do you think Mears can keep this up? Because he runs
36. Oh no, he's 33.
33, 34, something like that.
He could probably go another 3 years.
So let's talk about Mears. Obviously,
I'm just talking about
for him. We mentioned it.
I mean, how long did Robbie Keane stay in the MLS?
He stayed for a while.
He was old when he came over. Yeah.
Mears was 34.
Yeah, I think Robbie Keane came over at 30, right? 30, 31,
something like that. Yeah. But he was past his Premier League times. He was past his prime when he came over.
He's one of the examples I would give, like David Villa, and we talked about that, where he is a player that was past his prime in a certain area, came over and thrived, where Steven Gerrard, my favorite player of all time, was past his prime, maybe 2 years past his prime, much to my team's detriment over in England, comes over and he's still not great. They won an MLS Super Cup, I think.
Yeah, I think a lot of those players just.
And same with Pirlo, right? I mean,
they say, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll go, live in the States and play MLS,
make a ton of
on
money.
The weekend.
Yeah,
sure,
exactly.
Why not?"
Yeah.
But then they get over there and like, oh shit,
I actually have to play still.
I actually have to put a fair amount of effort into this, and I don't think,
I think you get a target on your back for people in the MLS who aren't in that scenario, and it's very obvious, like, oh, we're going to cut this huge check to this huge star that's at the end of his career.
Right.
We're going to test him every single game as a result of that. Like,
exactly.
Every game.
Exactly. Let's just shut him down.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Tyrone Mears returning to Seattle, where he won a Super Cup last year.
I hope he scores.
Yep. That would be amazing if he scored a goal, right?
Fantastic.
Yeah, I can't imagine he would get anything less than a hero's welcome. They seem like a good crowd, a little bit of a classy crowd. They know what they're.
He was a good player at Seattle, from what I remember.
Yeah, and he is every bit. Obviously, it's a different setting, but he's a better version of Glenn Johnson to me.
Yeah,
I think because he pushes forward a lot, but he can definitely make it back. He is huge too.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
He's ripped.
He's got a big ass.
Yeah. So anyway, Julian Gressel, definitely excited to see what he does, pushing forward a little more. Yep. And then I was most excited coming into the season about us signing Tito Villalba, and I think that having him up front, I think we'll get to see what he's made of. He's going to have to. That's his role, right? That is his spot to have.
This is his opportunity
for 4 to 6 weeks. Exactly. Yep. I mean, you make Tata question whether or not to keep playing one forward or to put two people up there and move Julian Gressel up a little further and then just play two holding midfielders.
Yes, I'm absolutely optimistic about this opportunity. I mean, it's an opportunity, right, for the entire squad. You're a young team that's still figuring it out, and now you're facing adversity on the road against the defending champ and without your best player. So, granted, there's a lot of differences in the team from all angles. Like, all the international players are out. Maybe they get subbed in second half. Nonetheless, the whole team has to redefine that chemistry and that makeup, and it starts from a coaching perspective. It gives you options whenever you're facing adversity within a game rather than from an injury perspective. And that's what I think was lacking in that first game with critical substitutions not being made. Again, didn't have to face that week 2 and 3, but those substitutions at key points in the game, knowing that you have a certain squad that's developed that chemistry once Martinez is back, or whenever you're facing a defensive opponent that doesn't allow you to make those quick runs or whatever, and you have to be a little bit more strategically planned in the box.
Yeah, and then what's great about that is you have 2 MLS veterans in Peterson and also Lorenowitz that are going to be kind of anchoring 2 of those positions that we're really missing people on.
Right.
And you're right, we have 2 internationals. I would hope that we'd see Carmona right at the edge of the return from the second half, kickoff of the second half, because he didn't play a whole lot for Chile, right? He came off the bench. He played a couple minutes in both games. Did
Almiron at all?
Yeah, Almiron. He started, I think,
I didn't watch any of
both
I know I
Paraguays.
I think he played a game and a half.
Yeah,
he got subbed off in the second half.
Did he? Oh yes, I did hear about that. Yeah.
But so, injuries cap.
Yeah. So Carmona really did. I mean, Chile's. I mean, for as poorly as they played in qualifying, they're a great team. Right. They have some of the best players in the world on their team, and actually 2, I would say, between Vidal and he didn't even play, I don't think, and Alexis Sanchez, but. I mean, it's a great problem to have. Obviously, we're going to miss Josef Martinez. His composure in the box is something I haven't seen, especially in watching a team that just that's coming off a season where they went to the MLS Super Cup against Seattle and Toronto, and just how poor they are in front of the goal.
Mm-hmm. It
just like makes you count your lucky stars. Yeah,
awful. I cannot count how many shots on goal they've had now that have just been completely squandered.
I think I was saying this earlier.
It's another prime example of it right there. It's just awful.
What I'm really interested in to see how the absence of Almiron affects this team.
Right. He is kind of our key cog up front, right?
Engine room. So who is going to be the one who steps up and helps create that?
For me, I think it's Gressel.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's Gressel. I think that he has a work rate that is very much like Almiron. I think that what he lacks in probably the skill and creativity that Almiron has, that he's going to make up for in his work rate.
Well, he's opportunistic. He's very quick on the ball to make an offensive play rather than holding on to it, dropping it back or something like that. He's made some key plays.
I mean, you saw that in the shot that he took. The shot that he took that resulted in an own goal.
Absolutely. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Well, the build-up that he had to that, he jumped on the ball. It's like, that's mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. He plays, I can't remember the term for it, and being a big Liverpool fan of Jurgen Klopp, the player – like Mario Götze and Adam Lallana. I can't remember the term that he uses, some German term for the gegenpress, where he's the first guy that goes right after the ball as soon as it's lost.
Yeah,
right. He's the guy that hunts it down. I think Garza kind of fits that too, though. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. I mean,
Garza's got that mean-looking face as well. You know, you just take one look and it looks like a beaten baby.
Yeah, he really does. Yeah, that's what happens when you're born in Texas, I guess. Yeah. You kind of just grow up. You're born with a leather face and born under that Texas sun. I was looking into his, because obviously big news last show was that we signed Josef Martinez. We went ahead and locked that up because we had first right of refusal and all that, and we had the contract in place. With Greg Garza, I was seeing something. It's weird. Maybe I just don't understand the way that the Super Draft works. But it says that we acquired him from Columbus or instead of Columbus or something like that.
No, he's on loan.
I know he's on loan from Tijuana, but he was offered to a couple clubs, I guess, and we were able to grab him first before somebody else was. I don't know. It's really weird, the what I was looking at. But anyway, I hope that the same thing applies where Tijuana, because they've sent him out on loan twice now. I'm hoping that he ends up and he's just an Atlanta player.
Well, I believe we do not have an option to buy on him.
Well, the option to buy would always come at the end of the season, right?
Right. Well, he would be a free agent. So technically, I think he would go back to his parent club, and then it's up for negotiation whether you can bring him back on a permanent deal or you can work out a deal. But I know with Assad, we have that buying option like we did with Martinez.
Right, and it was interesting. I think I was listening to, shout out to these guys at Mouse of the South podcast when they were talking about Assad's Argentine team and how they were just so quick to shoo him away and they didn't want him, and a lot of the fans hate him down there, and I'm not sure why. I'm happy to have him.
Yeah.
I think that he has some, he's only 22, I think he has some, not maturing to do, but I think that he could do better in terms of, and this is going to just grow, I think, as their chemistry continues to build between this team. But I think just seeing him kind of lay stagnant on the lines instead of making runs and that sort of thing, I think that there's definitely room for improvement. But I don't know. I really don't have any issues with any of our starting 4 or 5 up front. Yeah.
No, I'm excited.
Right. Yeah, me too. Yeah.
And much to my coworkers' dismay, I think that my only real weak point that we have that I think can be replaced is Alec Can.
Yeah. So he's, from what I've heard, he's a little slow. Like, he's not a speedy player.
Yeah, well, he doesn't like to clear he takes his time to clear the box and then make a strategic. Which, again, I made this point last episode. I'm okay with that if he's making a better touch on the ball rather than some of the rushed clears that he did in week 1.
Right.
That led to some 50-50s and some challenges that could have been easily avoided.
But with the team, so we take that, right? We take that. I'd take that any day over the jitters that he had in the first game, and to some extent in the snow, even though I'll probably cancel that out. But you got to get to the point where, okay, we're okay with it, but now you have to start playing the way this team plays, right? I mean, now that you have the butterflies, jitters are gone, maybe.
Yep.
You have to start feeding into the way that we build from the back. We play local balls. It's just a room for improvement. I think that I'm honestly happy so far with every single position on the field, except the goalkeeper spot.
I'm really excited to watch it on television, to be honest, because you get lost in just the momentum of being there the past couple of weeks. So I'll be able to pick up on a lot more stuff, and I keep wanting to go back and rewatch the games before we record. Never end up finding time to do so, but you can see the build-up and interplay in the midfield a lot more on the television rather than on one end of the field.
Right.
Whenever you're there in person, like, being there is great. It's awesome. But from a critical, like, oh, how is this really building up? Who's involved? Who's the key players? What runs are being made?
Right.
That gets kind of lost in translation.
Well, when you're throwing your beer on the field, Kevin, then, you can't always concentrate on that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that guy from Chicago
taunting Chicago fan base.
So speaking of which, Kevin and I are now season ticket holders.
Yeah, we are. And I got that second ticket just for you, Mr. James.
Oh, thanks,
whenever you want to go, you just
whenever you want to pay him $50.
Whenever you want to fuel my drinking habit for the day, you just let me know.
So yeah, I'm excited. Did you guys also see the news about Arthur Blank extending the capacity as we talked about the first week of the season?
No, I'm glad.
Because the MLS capacity was only 29,000.
Right.
Yeah, the capacity of the 70,000 person stadium or 70,000 seat stadium for MLS was only going to be something like 29,000. I want to say with now 31,000 founding club members, I think Kevin helped break that.
Well done, Kevin.
That's I was 31,000.
That's right.
And 31,001.
Arthur Blank was probably, Kevin Bradley. Oh, okay.
We need to make an exception for this.
He'll make enough noise for 1,000 people.
And he's just talking. Imagine what's going to happen when he gets excited.
Nice, bro. Anyway, so I want to say it was extended to be in the 40s. It's a long number. I can't remember if it was 41 or 47. Forgive me. I don't have it in front of me.
I'm lower deck. That's all I care about.
Either way, I think that capacity is only going to get larger.
Yeah.
I think as the season goes on, there's speculation. There's speculation now that we're not going to have a retractable roof at Mercedes. Is that right?
Well, it's just they're having issues with it, which from a design and construction standpoint, I think we saw that coming.
the compressed schedule and the complexity of the engineering goes into that. It's like, okay, well, I mean,
two fucking architects on the table.
Yeah. So either they're going to do what now? On what schedule? Yeah, that's not happening.
Isn't it designed to open and close like a shutter of a camera?
Yes.
Okay. Or okay.
People I've talked to at my work say it looks like a cat's butthole.
I was about to make that distinction as well, and I stopped. But thank you, Dan. I'll let the guest make that.
You're welcome, Tim. Anytime. I'm available anytime, Tim. Anytime.
No, this has been Home Before Dark.
We got 2 viewers. Shout out to you guys. And thanks for the rating.
You the real MVPs.
Yeah, exactly. Josh Linville is the guy's name who gave us that sweet 5-star review. Thank you, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
Do you ever read out their reviews?
Ooh, we should.
Ooh, I can pull it up right now. Or you pull it up.
I think you would be quicker to pull it up.
I got it. Yeah.
I listened to a very good podcast who gave me that idea.
We are one of the few podcasts that literally anyone can come on. I think we would welcome most anyone with open arms to come on and shoot the shit.
Well, I've been on here twice.
As you can testify.
Pull it up, Kevin.
I'm trying, dude.
And as always, if you guys want to leave a voice for us, what do you think of the game, what you're thinking about the Seattle game coming up, call 678-827-3297. That's 678-827-3297. It's a Google Voice number. It'll go straight to voicemail. You guys just leave us what you're, or not what you want to know, what you guys want us to know, and we'll play it back in the next show.
Happy to have found this podcast. Normally in football, but ATL United brought me to this MLS, or brought me to the MLS this year. Tried a few MLS podcasts this week, but this one has the best I've found. ATL Focus helps, of course. It's a great podcast so far. Keep it up. I like it because it's optimistic, but it also casts some doubt on it.
That's right. Obviously, that was written before today.
It's been good so far.
So you can go back and change your rating on iTunes, right? We are fucked.
Well, at least you've both got full-time jobs.
There's like an asterisk beside that review.
I just so happen to put in my 2 weeks because this is doing so well. The pressure's really on you, Josh Linville.
I really refinanced my home with the intent of this whole podcast taking off. That all we got? I think that's it for me anyway. We're 20 minutes.
Through?
Huh?
That went through?
What went through?
The refinance that he asked?
Yeah.
What I'm talking about.
So that's all I got. Anybody? Any other comments? Looking forward to Seattle. You want to talk about?
Actually, no. I want to talk about Toronto real quick because what we were talking about earlier, just before you came, Dan, and watching Sporting KC play, is I haven't really watched them. Is they play a lot of balls on the ground too. They don't hoof it very much.
That's right.
And they play not necessarily just like us, but a more similar style to us than most teams in the MLS. In the way that they've been able to combat a powerhouse that I don't know is necessarily still a powerhouse, but they still keep showing up in front of Atlanta in power rankings in Toronto, and we're going to be playing them next week. It's good to see necessarily, kind of what we're going to be going up against. We don't necessarily have I love Matt Beasler. I hope that somehow we can snag that guy, but we don't have that necessarily good of a rock in the center back position. Granted, how good is Gonzalez Perez though?
Oh, I thought he's amazing.
I thought so too, and he's still fairly young too. And what he during the Chicago game, he actually completed more passes than all of Chicago did from the center back role. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. I think that Parkhurst probably only has a couple years left in him. He's our captain, obviously. He's still a great defender for us. I would like to see somebody else get groomed. Mm-hmm. I don't know about that.
Right.
Behind him.
Well, maybe next season.
Yeah.
Because, Perez is a great player that we can hopefully – I don't even know what his contract is right now. But if we can keep him on the team
I want to say he's permanent, I want to say. He's not one of the loanees.
Let's keep him and then groom him. So because originally I thought Parkhurst is probably going to be that rock. But I think Perez is a lot more.
He's a much better ball player from the back too.
But it's good to have Parkhurst so he can have someone he can vet and learn from.
Yeah, that's true. Because Michael Parkhurst has been playing in MLS for
a good long while.
Yeah, for a while. He played with Columbus.
Just like Vic Beasley and Dwight Freeney.
Yeah, exactly.
The Mestor and the...
I just got a little...
I did too, because being a lifelong Colts fan.
I got shivers. Right. Shivers. Ooh.
Dwight Freeney.
Vic Beasley. Oh.
Perez is the Padawan to...
to Parkhurst.
Parkhurst
Sidious or...
Probably Sidious. Yeah. We're red and black. So.
Yeah, Parkhurst. Yeah, I think so. The 5 stripes. Anyway, I think that's it for me. I don't want to ramble. We have a game coming on in about 18 minutes. Yeah, Thank you guys for those of you who tuned in.
Toronto and Sporting Kansas City just ended in a draw. Looks like 0-0. So that was a snoozer.
Well, that's good. That's good for us. That's great for the standings. I want to say
playing as terrible inside the box like they did this game. I think that bodes well.
Let's take a look at the standings.
Can't have to do much at all because they're going to do it for us.
So right now, Columbus has won coming off 2 wins in a row. They played during the international break, which is so silly. You and I were talking about that. Yeah. So Columbus is in first with New York Red Bulls. They're both at 7 points. We're at 6 points. Orlando could take I mean, they still have a game in hand on everybody. Actually, 2 games in hand on New York and Columbus. Orlando's not the South, by the way. And then Toronto.
Oh, I totally agree with that.
Totally. Toronto is now sitting on 6 points, but they have 3 draws and 1 win. They haven't lost yet. But then you have NYCFC, Chicago, New England, Montreal. The Eastern Conference is pretty shit after New York City, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, Chicago, I don't know if Chicago's a great team.
We'll see.
Yeah, I guess we will see. But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in.
You find all of us online, Tim?
You can find me at Tim Herb. That's my name, TimHerb.
Dan?
At Dan James with a Z, because I'm so woke.
Just on Instagram. So woke on Instagram.
And my account is private. I'm just a social media mogul.
Find me as well at The Architect. That's at @the_ARC, number 1 TECT. Collectively at Home Before Dark. That's before spelled B and the number 4. You can find our website, gethomebeforedark.com.
We have a new network feed that's going up. That's going to be on iTunes for those of you who are kind enough to listen to both the main show that we've been doing for 4 years and also Atlanta United FC Weekly. And then also there are going to be a couple other shows coming out in the next month. Yep. We're going to have a catalog for you guys to, but look for that. It's going to be under Home Before Dark Podcast Network on iTunes if you guys don't want to switch between the 2 networks.
Yep.
Look for us anywhere. We're everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
We literally are on every single facet except Pandora because we're not This American Life.
And I'm glued to my phone at most times. So if there's a tweet or anything that comes through, we will respond in one fashion or another. Glad to have you on. Can't wait to have you back on after tonight's game.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Prediction on score tonight?
I think 1-1.
I was going to go with that, but I'll go with 2-1. Atlanta.
Seattle?
Atlanta.
Okay.
Fuck no, Seattle.
I'm going 1-1 as well. So thanks for checking us out, guys. You want to hear your review on the show? Throw one up on iTunes. Thanks for checking us out. We'll see you next time. As always, get home before dark.